Okay, so night vision is good, but thermal is a whole nother level. Let me explain. So you might have seen my video on the Hrs31s. If not, you can click the link above and it'll take you to that video. But long story short, it exceeded my expectations. That prompted me to contact HiReady Systems and see if I can upgrade to the thermal unit. I was able to send the base unit back, and within like less than 2 weeks, they're very quick on that turnaround, I received the thermal upgrade. But before we check that out, they actually sent over a surprise gift to go along with the unit. This right here is their in-house pack box unit, and it actually surprised me with how sturdy and well built it is. Right here we have a side-by-side comparison to the Action Union pack box that I got from Amazon and the Hrs31 pack box. At first glance, they look very similar, and the build quality feels very similar, which isn't a bad thing because they are both well built. But once you get to the functionality, this is where the Hrs31's pack box stands out to me. For one, unlike the Action Union pack box, the Hrs31's has very tactile clicks with each adjustment, rather than the Action Union's very mushy clicks. Coming close for some ASMR. But that's not where the differences stop. With them being a Canadian-based company, they need to make eye-safe lasers. Here's a comparison of the Hrs31's pack box versus the Action Union, which is definitely not eye-safe. But now we get to the best part, in my opinion, of this pack box is its IR capabilities. It has a super bright IR floodlight with a nice hotspot. My one criticism would be, please add a low-powered option. In close quarter CQB, that flood was a little overpowering, but outdoors it was perfect. And it has a nice, bright, visible IR laser. During the night game that I took it to, it did really well. It held at 0 and I didn't have any issues, and I'll be able to test it further this weekend at Six Flags. Priced at $150, I think it's the best in price for its IR capabilities. Now for the moment you've all been waiting for, the Hrs31 thermal unit, also known as the three-eyed raven. You get it? You get the joke there? Because the thermal sensor looks like a third eye. Because it was a thermal upgrade, I actually got back the unit that I sent in, which is pretty cool. And they also gave me some additional lens protectors. On the outside, it looks very similar to the previous unit with 2 cosmetic differences. At the front, the onboard battery compartment has now been replaced with the thermal imaging sensor, and on the right hand side, there are now 2 buttons with 4 different positions in combination to activate the thermal image. To put it simply, with both forward, you have the thermal image. With both back, you have the digital night vision image, and then you can alternate which eye by flipping one forward or backwards. They also added one of their first QC patches, if you would say, where they noticed that in human environments, the thermal imaging sensor may become unfocused. So they added a little adjustment wheel at the front there to help manually focus if that were to happen. Because the onboard battery is now gone, I opted to upgrade my battery pack to this 20,000 milliamp battery, which if you saw my first video, you'll know battery pack is the way you should run this in general. More on the helmet setup coming up later on in this video. I did a little neat trick to help with recording that I'll get to in a little bit. That's all for the external changes. Now let's get on to the performance. When I first put on the unit, I was absolutely stunned. I wasn't the only one either. How clear and concise heat signatures was just a whole nother level of detection for me. I promptly took them to my parents' house to go run some tests in the backyard, and it didn't disappoint. I can't accurately show it off here because the recorder only picks up one eye at a time, but having one eye thermal and one eye digital night vision really helps with the detection limitations of just the night vision. In the really dark environments, I found myself not having to rely on my floodlight, because if there was someone who I thought was a person, they would literally light up like a firework under the thermal. And that helped to identify if it was a person or not while looking under the night vision. Your eyes kind of adjust together where the thermal overlays over the night vision in your brain of sorts. and it just kind of amplifies the image. A little bit of a trigger warning here. You're going to see some glowing feet, but I wanted to see if I left behind any heat tracks, and yes, I did. Hit that subscribe button. You're getting OnlyFans content for free. To then further have some fun, I took some water bottles and heated up the water, and then took them out and just started having fun shooting them. And last but not least, I let my dad join in on the fun by giving him the unit and having him just track me throughout our backyard. After that, I used it in the ultimate test of a night game at my local field, Rats Airsoft. If you want in on the nighttime shenanigans, join their Facebook. They make announcements whenever they have the night games. There, I really got to have a feel of how this unit will work for me. The thermal, digital night vision, and the IR PEC box all work in tandem to help amplify your experience. By nature, thermal is not meant for indoors, but that's where the digital night vision picks up the slack. The depth of field for thermal is 100% reliable on ambient heat. If you're in, let's say, an abandoned school where it's cold, dark, and there's no ambient heat, you're not going to have any depth of field. Everything will be a nice dark mess of shapes that you can't really pick out, and you're definitely going to not do what I did, run into walls and barriers that are in front of you. With the three-eyed Raven, it was a simple flip of a switch to turn it on digital night vision when I was indoors, and when I went outdoors, hit that switch again to have thermal in one eye, night vision in the other, so that I can easily detect the people around me. It became almost second nature when I was in situations where it was too dark on the thermal side, switch to the night vision, and when I wanted to easily see someone or try to see people in the woods, flip on the thermal and detect them that way. One small side note, it may seem like a given, but what I learned was that, night vision doesn't detect color, so seeing players' armbands, yeah, a lot of team killing going on there. What you're about to see on screen is probably the greatest jump scare that I had all night, and my biggest proponent to why thermal is amazing. Let me set the scene for you. I am in a trench in the woods, trying to defend an objective from the enemy team, looking all around with my night vision. I can't see anybody to my left, so I switch on the thermal and I peek to the right, and this is what I saw. Completely outnumbered and surrounded, I die in a blaze of BBs, but that's the power of thermal. I was completely hidden from everyone. No one saw where I was. It was just my stupid lack of awareness that let them sneak up that close to me before I saw them. I guess you're now wondering, in my opinion, what are my thoughts after actually fielding these? Is it worth it? Yes, absolutely. For me, it is the best upgrade to these that they could have made, and it makes them so much more viable, and it really does start to keep up with analog night vision with these upgrades. The gameplay you have been seeing in the back is probably the worst condition for both night vision and digital night vision. It was a rainy day with almost complete cloud coverage. Outdoors was very dark. A lot of people were using their IR light who had night vision, and that did help with my performance. But yeah, rain, clouds, no moonlight, very bad situation to be in, even with analog night vision. To be fair, we did have some external lights to help with the players who didn't have night vision to be able to see, but we mainly stuck to the darker areas so that our night vision could be as overpowered as night vision is. Some final thoughts and some areas that I think could be improved or updated or something like that, where HRS could go in the future. If HRS is listening, these are my suggestions. Latency will always be a bit of an issue for digital night vision unit. Any improvements to that to get that milliseconds down will be much appreciated. But the thermal, on the other hand, seems to have a higher frame rate and lower latency than the digital night vision unit. Probably because thermal is taking in less information, but it is a little smoother. I don't have any actual specs on that, but it feels a little smoother. I don't know if it's possible, but if at any point in the future you are all able to develop the technology to have a thermal overlay, where you're looking through the night vision with that little circle-ish area that has thermal, That would be super cool if that's possible. I would love to see some form of iteration of that rather than having it be independent of each tube, have it actually overlay over the night vision. Yeah, I think that would be amazing, and that's one of the big changes that I don't know if you could keep it in the small form factor that's in, but having that as an upgrade, I would definitely love to check that out. But those are just suggestions. There are not any blatant issues that I saw with it. I had an amazing experience using it, and I definitely can't wait to test it out in even harsher situations during the Battle of Six Flags. But I will end this video with a little bit of a helmet review and tell you how I set up everything to be able to record all this and how I manage all my gear with this unit. So my helmet, it looks a little crazy at first, but I simplified it as much as I could to be able to record. The base helmet is the PTS MTech Flux helmet. Love this helmet. I think it's probably one of the only ones I want to use at this point. Looking at the battery pack, it is just a 5 volt to a 220,000 milliamp battery I got off of Amazon, and what I'm connecting to it right now is the digital NVG recorder. Because it's so tiny, its native battery life is trash. You can't record anything. So I found this small little 90-degree cord to connect that to the bottom of my battery pack, and to the top I connect my power cable for the night vision. This setup let me record for about 3 hours with the night vision on, with only about 1/6 of the battery percentage going down. I don't think the recorder is meant to be used this way, but I'm here for a good time, not a long time, and those digital recorders only cost like 30 bucks, so if it burns out or dies, I can easily replace it. Looking at the rest of the helmet, I have a metal Wilcox mount that I got off of AliExpress. Gets the job done, plain and simple, easy. The NVG retention lanyard, I have the JHT NVG retention lanyard. Got that off of HRT Tactical. Mounted on top of the lanyard is the beacon light. I found them on Instagram. Then I have my weld tool mounted to the Thrim VS helmet mount. At the very back, I have a knockoff Agilite battery pack. And finally, I have my trusty ear mores. The mount for those I got off of Amazon from a store called GYDEHUTJ. Yeah, they're a bit deceptive because they look like they're arc rail adapters, but they actually come with both arc rail and M-LOK. Well, that is all I have to go over today in this video. Let me know in the description if you have any more questions that you would like answered. Once again, thank you to HighReady Systems for their quick response times and allowing me to purchase this upgrade for the unit. And this video would not be possible without the support of you all and our channel members. Our channel members' names are up on screen here, and something cool happened actually. We actually got a super thanks. So thank you to this user right here for your super thanks. It is very much appreciated, and I hope to be able to continue bringing out this great content for you all. If you want to see some more night vision content, stay tuned. It is coming, hopefully very soon. But for now, if you want to see some gameplay, click one of these cards. It'll take you to a playlist. As always, stay safe, have fun, play airsoft. This is TactOp, signing out.